Hey guys, it's Maddie. In honor of the new year and the new decade of 2020, we would like to introduce you guys to a brand new series with 100 Years of Trucking. With this series, we will be taking you guys on a trip back through time in our very own truck time machine, beginning one whole century ago in 1920. Despite the official beginning of the trucking industry starting several years prior near the beginning of the 20th century, today we will be kicking this series off by taking a glimpse back into the year 1920 and covering all sorts of significant trucks and events during this time frame leading up until the next decade of the 1930s. Let's jump right in. In general, the 1920s marked the real beginnings of the early trucking industry days, with the introduction of more efficient diesel engines and the standardization of tractors and trailers. Also during this time, most trucks were now standardly equipped with pneumatic tires and electric lighting. All of these advancements allowed for easier transportation in a far shorter amount of time. By the year 1920, over 1 million trucks were driving on America's roads. Despite the roadways having a different overall look and feel prior to the Federal Highway Act that would later pave the way for the U.S. interstate highway system. Also during this time of Prohibition, these new semi-trucks were placed in a perfect position amidst a plummeting economy to serve a more precarious purpose as an essential vehicle for the illegal underground alcohol trade system. Trucking was booming, and it was very easy for any business to simply buy a truck and hide alcohol inside, as they were very unlikely to be stopped by law enforcement and were able to haul larger quantities faster, easier, and further than ever before. Following the frenzy of the First World War and the dawn of the new decade of the Roaring Twenties, there were two primary truck manufacturers that had emerged and grasped hold of the newfound trucking industry. Included in this dynamic duo was former sewing machine manufacturer, White Motor Company, as well as the infamous icon of the industry and modern-day euphemism for all big rig trucks, Mack Trucks. Both of these manufacturers played a critical role in aiding our nation's war efforts, with over 18,000 1 to 3 ton white trucks and over 5,000 of Mack's ever-popular AC models used by the American military. Speaking of the marvel that is Mack Trucks, in 1921, Mack officially adopted their beloved Bulldog badge that still to this day remains the company's cult classic corporate symbol. Also in 1921, Mack Trucks introduced the use of rubber isolators as cushions and chassis components, which greatly improved shock resistance. Around this same time, White Motor Company began getting more seriously involved in the bus business realm and introduced their first bus-specific White Motors chassis later in 1921. 2 years later in 1923, an all-new truck manufacturer hit the scene and the company we know today as Kenworth Trucks was established and named after a combination of the owners' names Harry Kent and Edgar Worthington. That same year, Kenworth began producing their early 6-cylinder gasoline-powered trucks with a grand total of 78 trucks built in the first year. Unfortunately, in the year following, Mack Trucks and the entire trucking industry as a whole would suffer the loss of one of its fundamental founders, John "Jack" Mack, in 1924. On March 14th, Jack was killed instantly upon impact when his vehicle collided with a trolley in Allenstown, Pennsylvania, also home to Mack headquarters. Later in 1926, White released their first series production 6-cylinder commercial bus with the Model 54. Later on, the Model 54 engine would also be used in White's Model 59 heavy tractor. This Model 54 would also pave the way for further bus development from White. In 1927, Mack introduced their first of the early B-Series trucks with the Mack BJ and BB models. These early B-Series trucks represented the company's response to a rapidly growing industry, which spurred a demand for trucks with larger capacities, varying sizes and weights, as well as higher speed haulage. Also during this time, Mack pioneered the use of power brakes on trucks with the use of their all-new vacuum booster system, a transforming revolution for the industry. In February of 1928, yet another truck manufacturer arrived on the scene, with the very first Volvo truck rolling off the assembly line in Gothenburg, Sweden. Despite having only just opened and began company operations 2 years prior in late 1926, Volvo's new Series 1 trucks were an immediate success. With only 500 of these Series 1 trucks originally produced, these trucks sold out very quickly, and despite stocks of which were originally expected to last up to 2 years, the Series 1 trucks had all found customers within only 6 months. On the continuous search for promising new endeavors for the upcoming decade, in 1929, Mack Trucks embarked on a new venture as they began production of both semi and full trailers. Also in 1929, due to their steadily growing production, Kenworth Trucks opened up a brand new factory in Seattle, Washington. Unfortunately, as the decade came to its end, the trucking industry and the entirety of the U.S. economy began to plummet as the Great Depression set in. With 4 major manufacturers now in the mix of a monetary meltdown, the roar of the 20s would go on to be one that would be heard for many years to come. Thank you all so much for watching the first installment of our brand new 100 Years of Trucking video series, Trucking in the 20s. Before you leave, make sure you like the video, check out the other videos on our channel, and subscribe. We are growing at a rapid rate and quickly approaching our next goal of 20,000 subscribers, so thank you all so much for your support for the show. If you'd like to stay up to date with the new projects that we have coming, follow us at Jack's Chrome Show on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. We still have our truck history shirts available on our website at jackschromeshow.com, so be sure to check them out. If you're in the mood for some chrome, drop by our online chrome shop at jackschromeshop.com and save on your order by using the discount code YouTube. Thanks for watching, we'll see you next week, and remember guys, if your rig don't shine, you don't know Jack.